Let's look at some of the things that college students have gotten used to in their college environment that are in fact very different from what they will encounter in the work environment. First of all, let's talk about schedules. The schedule, the year-round calendar schedule that students have gotten used to is a pretty generous, pretty flexible, pretty casual schedule. What with spring break and summer vacations and Christmas vacations, a student who is a full-time student, probably out of the 12 months they're in school, are probably not really in the classroom more than 9 months. It's a very indulgent calendar with lots of breaks and lots of time off. In the corporate culture, in the work environment, it's a 12-month calendar, and in that 12-month calendar, you'll be working 52 weeks before you get 1 week of vacation. Especially if you're a new professional to this environment for the first time, you'll have to earn your 1 week's vacation. For every year you work at that company, you'll be given 1 week's vacation. That's a typical rule of thumb. So college students who have gotten used to a lot of time off and a lot of vacations are going to have a lot of adapting, a lot of transition pains in getting used to working year-round in a true 12-month calendar where there's very little time off, and earning that time off is a long time coming. When it comes to the school environment, students get used to having a different professor, a different teacher, a different faculty member every class and every semester. Any student who's dissatisfied with their teacher knows that, gosh, I don't have to put up with this very long. 4 months from now, I'll have a new teacher. There'll be a new semester. I can wipe the slate clean, and I can start over with a whole new set of teachers. So no matter how difficult a professor was, you really didn't have to learn really to get along with that teacher for more than just a couple of months anyway. Within the work setting, you'll have the same boss in an ongoing capacity, and there'll be a greater need to establish a long-term relationship and to learn to resolve long-term conflicts. That there won't be a change of supervisor or a change of boss or a change of the person that you're working for or working with very often. That you'll be with that same group of people, that same supervisor for a longer period of time. Students in a college environment have gotten used to grades being given on a regular basis. And these grades are very objective, very rational, and very quantitative. Meanwhile, in a work environment, evaluations, on the other hand, are given rather infrequently. And evaluations are very subjective. And they're based on the boss's opinion. And the boss's opinion, in fact, plays a major role in evaluations, in performance appraisals. And the evaluations are oftentimes not objective and not quantitative, but in fact very, very subjective. And there's a big difference between the way evaluations or grades are given in a work environment and the way that they are given in a school environment. In a school environment, students have gotten used to generally working alone, or even if they did work in a group, they were at least independently responsible for their performance. In a work environment, we oftentimes work in teams, in groups, or by department, and the groups are held jointly responsible or collectively responsible. And that your evaluation, your reputation, your credibility is based on the reputation of the group. That your reputation is going to be based on the weakest member of your team. So working together in a team environment, in a group environment, is more critical in a work environment. And sometimes I think in a college environment, we try to get you used to working in a group by assigning team projects. But it is more critical that we understand that in the work environment that it's for real. Parental intercession and parental interference in the school setting is barely tolerated. I do think that students in this particular generation have gotten used to their parents being an important part of everything they do, including their college, their coursework, and all of their activities. Though that kind of parental involvement or parental interference or parental intercession will not be tolerated in a work setting. Employers simply will not have any patience for a student whose parents call in their behalf. Students who bring parents to interviews is inappropriate and sends a real strong message to the employer about the immaturity of that particular candidate. As an employee, you are an independent agent. You are a grown-up. You should be responsible for your own actions, and your parents are no longer a part of the formula. In the school environment, a college campus environment, deadlines tend to be negotiable. Time is more flexible. Tardiness tends to be tolerated. But in a corporate environment, in a work environment, in the corporate culture, deadlines are not negotiable. Punctuality is critical. Deadlines are very strict. People lose their jobs. People are fired for being late and for missing work and for being tardy. So the bad habits that we might have created by being late for class, being late for meetings, not showing up for meetings, not showing up for certain events, and not calling to let anybody know, those kinds of behaviors are habits that you should try to break now before you get into the corporate environment where the consequences could be more dire. Also in the school environment, you've gotten used to advancement being something that's very regular, very linear, and very logical. I mean, you are a freshman for 2 semesters and then you become a sophomore. You are a sophomore for 2 semesters and then you become a junior. You're a junior for 2 semesters and then you become a senior. You're a senior for 2 semesters and then you graduate. Pretty predictable, pretty logical, pretty linear. It is simply not that way in the work environment. Simply not that way in most corporate cultures. Advancement is very unpredictable. And there are many factors and there are many forces at work that determine your advancement and that determine your progress. So in this transition from the campus environment to the corporate culture, the adjustment that needs to be made, the assimilation, the acculturation that needs to occur could sometimes be more difficult for students who have created many bad habits over the years that ill prepare them for entry into the world of work.